What was your, is this woman serious moment? My boyfriend Jake got a wedding invitation from his cousin Melissa, and when I read the details, I thought someone was playing a prank on us. The invitation said, please send $2 of $50 via Venmo to reserve your plate. Vegetarian meals are $150. I showed Jake the card and asked if his family had some weird tradition I didn't know about. He looked embarrassed and said Melissa had always been dramatic, but this seemed extreme even for her. We both figured maybe the money would be refunded at the wedding or counted toward a gift, so Jake sent the $250. Big mistake. The wedding day arrived, and from the moment we walked up to the venue, I knew we were in for something crazy. At the entrance, instead of a guest book, there was a hostess handing out laminated menus with prices next to every single dish. Chicken dinner was $25, salmon was $35, and the vegetarian pasta was $20. I thought it was a joke until I saw people actually pulling out their wallets. The bar situation was even worse. Water was free, but everything else had a price tag. Soda was $3, beer was $8, and champagne was $12 per glass. Jake and I looked at each other like we'd accidentally walked into a restaurant instead of a wedding reception. During dinner, Melissa walked around to every table asking guests if they wanted to upgrade their desserts for an extra $5. She had this bright smile plastered on her face, while she basically became a waitress at her own wedding. I watched her lean over to an elderly woman and say, well, you're not eating cake for free, are you? The poor lady looked so confused. Things got completely insane during the gift opening. Melissa grabbed the microphone and announced, we'll be opening gifts now, but if you didn't bring cash or a card, you can donate through my PayPal. She actually held up a QR code for people to scan. The whole room went silent, and you could see guests looking around at each other with their mouths hanging open. That's when Jake's Aunt Linda stood up. She was this no-nonsense woman who'd been in the family forever, and she looked furious. Melissa, this is embarrassing, she said loud enough for everyone to hear. Weddings are about celebrating family, not running a business. Melissa burst into tears right there at the microphone. She started sobbing about how she'd spent too much money on her dream wedding and needed help paying for everything. She said her parents wouldn't give her more money, and she thought charging guests was a creative solution. People started getting up and leaving. First it was just a few couples, but then whole tables began clearing out. Jake grabbed my hand and we headed for the exit too, along with probably half the wedding guests. As we walked to our car, I could hear Melissa still crying through the microphone, begging people not to leave. I thought that was the end of the drama, but the next morning I woke up to a text message from a number I didn't recognize. It was Melissa, and she'd sent the same message to everyone who left early. You still owe the full meal payment since you reserved a plate. Please Venmo me $25 by tonight. Jake immediately blocked her number, and so did most of his family. We heard through relatives that Melissa kept sending demanding messages to people for weeks, threatening to take them to small claims court over unpaid meal fees. 6 months later, she sent out invitations to her baby shower. The card said admission ticket, $100, light refreshments included. Not a single person from the wedding showed up. Jake's mom told us Melissa spent the whole afternoon alone in a decorated community center, surrounded by unopened gifts she'd bought for herself.